Why are black people so loud? Do they know indoor voices? I think that white families just tend to be quite quiet. I feel like all people of color are fairly loud. No, actually, Asian people aren't. I feel like Hispanic people are pretty loud. I feel like black people are generally pretty loud. I don't know why. It's just cultural. Actually, not even. I wouldn't even say black people. I'd say African Americans tend to be. Like, I don't think that like Nigerians and Kenyans are making a lot of noise on planes. And I probably shouldn't say all Hispanics either, but I don't think I don't have like the ethnic Hispanic. Like if you show me like a person from Cuba, Mexico, Venezuela, Brazil, and Argentina, it's all going to be the same shit to me. So I have no idea. Why is it a sweats to need to refer to certain ethnicities as loud? I feel like in other parts of the world, these very mild stereotypes are commonly used in a non-detrimental way. There's an experiment that I'm pretty sure never happened, but it's a good thought experiment. With the 5 monkeys. That's kind of awkward considering we were just talking about. But it's the idea that like 5 monkeys are in a room. There's a banana placed on top of a ladder. Anytime they climb up, there's an electric shock on the floor or some bullshit. So anytime somebody goes up for a banana, they all get shocked, so nobody goes up for the banana, right? When you pull one monkey out and you throw a new monkey in the room, when that monkey tries to climb up the ladder, they pull the monkey down before the monkey's ever felt the shock because nobody wants to feel the shock, right? And then what happens theoretically is that if you replace the monkeys one at a time until you've got all 4 new monkeys and then you bring in a 5th new monkey, when that 5th new monkey tries to climb the ladder, the monkeys will pull the other monkey down without ever having experienced the negative stimulus. They're just like doing a learned behavior because they know it's bad, right? So the idea is that you can teach behaviors without understanding where they come from because they're kind of like these cultural mimetic things that you inherit from people before you. So one of the issues with African Americans in the United States is after civil rights, after 64 maybe, when it was no longer kind of like trendy to like just call black people the N-word or be like blatantly racist, people started to be racist in a lot more subtle ways. And instead of like calling, saying like, oh, this black person or whatever, you might call them like, oh, a thug. Or you might even be more clever and like, these young hoodlums with their pants that hang down and the rap music and blah, blah, blah. And you basically say everything but the N-word. But like everybody kind of knew what you were saying. Everybody looked like, okay, we get it, chief. And I think the problem is that I would say the risk of sounding white and privileged, I think for the most part, we've moved on from most of this in the United States. At least from what I see in the media circles that I look at, and then obviously my immediate circles, it doesn't seem like there's as much of that anti-African-American heavy racialized undertones anymore. It doesn't seem to be the case. It seems like we're focused more on other issues. Not to say that it's completely gone or absent entirely, but it seems like that's not the case anymore. But the issue is that there's still like psychologically, there's a lot of holdover from how people would say things. So even if you say something that's like true or obviously true, people just look at you like, oh my God, that's racist. Basically any type of statement that you make that would otherize a black person, rather than being seen as any type of like descriptive statement, people will look at you as that like they look at you sideways like, what do you mean by that? And that's the issue, right? So like black people being loud is was a negative stereotype that people would talk about in the past. And if you say that, it's like coded for like the N-word almost. It's like coded racism. But like, so now if anybody brings that up, even if they're not like trying to be racist, people just look at you like, wait, what? That's why like if I look at 5 different white people on stream and I say, doesn't this guy look like this guy? Or doesn't this guy? Everybody's like, LOL faceblind, LOL faceblind, LOL faceblind. But if I mix up 2 black people, it's like, oh my God, racism. That's like I think that's more or less like how I understand it. But I think you can just call shit and say it. Just don't be racist. Yeah. Black people are loud. So are Hispanic people. They just are. Not black people, African Americans, I should say. Or tend to be, at least. But it's all stereotypes, too. And a lot of it, too, like, the more that I've thought about this, a lot of, like, the stuff a lot of the negative stereotypes relating to African Americans, whether it's being loud, whether it's being a poor tipper, whether it's the way they speak, isn't even endemic to just African Americans. It's more like a poor Southern poverty thing. Because depending on where you're at, because I worked in Council Bluffs in Iowa, like redneck poor white people have a lot of the same problems as the negative stereotypes of any like black person, of any African American. But then when you see those people, you don't stereotype them as white people. You just think of them as like, rednecks or white trash. Yeah. Race relations are complicated. Chinese people are loud as or maybe just annoying moms. I don't know. The loudest Asians that I ever dealt with, but again, keep in mind, this is such a particular bubble, would be Vietnamese people. Vietnamese people were crazy loud at the casino that I worked at. But there were also a really big community of Vietnamese people there. Maybe if it would have been Chinese people, maybe they would have been loud. I'm not sure. I have no idea. I also don't know how fair it is to talk about Chinese people. I have no idea, right? Like America's a huge country. Is China 2 billion people or 1 billion? How many people are in China? What is this, like 5x our population? I have no idea how many people are in China right now. 1.4 billion people, right? So 4x our population. I don't know if you can stereotype, like if the people in Beijing are the same as like the people who are, I don't know any other cities in China. But anyway, yeah, I have no idea. I don't even know if you could stereotype all Chinese people. I don't know. Ethiopians aren't loud at all. Go to Nigeria and it's the opposite. In the end, it's all about cultural norms. Sure. Do you think outrage at positive stereotypes to the same degree as negative stereotypes is fair? Yeah, probably. I think that the problem with any stereotype, if I had to guess, the problem with any stereotype is that it just gets grating because you hear it so much. Like if it was just like a thing that happened every now and then, it'd be whatever. But it's like the problem is like everybody that talks to you about it, they act like they're the first person that has ever brought this up. Like I'm sure if you're like an Asian dude in the US, like you've heard a math joke. Oh, you can do this for me. You're good at math. Like probably 50 quadrillion times. So that would be my guess. For a lot of stuff like that, the problem is that it's otherizing, but there's two elements. It's otherizing and it's done so much. I think that's why understanding the concept, not to sound too out there, sorry to scare my centrist conservative audience. That's why microaggressions and understanding those I think are pretty important, because it's not a huge thing that's like, I'm so mad that you did that. It's just like, it's another thing and it's small, but it's kind of annoying. And then it's just every single day you hear like the same stupid jokes and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I think that's... Do you think boycotting works, or if there are any benefits to big boycotting campaigns? Some do, don't they? Didn't the Rosa Parks stuff lead to huge boycotts that changed behaviors? I think there have been examples of historically really successful boycotts, haven't there been? Northern Lion goated clip.
I should have had him. I just like...
I remember those.
I should have had him. I just like...
Dan, it's you and me against the world.
Okay.
I took one. One is like kind of right here by orange, I think.
Just camp in a corner. I'm coming to you.
Got one.
Got the other. Full tear.
Last one's right here. Oh wait, did you get? Oh, on you, on top of you, on top of you.
All right, Ryan.
On that, drop down. I'm not a.
Where are there? We need gulags. Why is there no gulag compilation with me and Dan and Mooten?